Election Day is 45 days away, but early voting is already underway in some states. And Vice President Kamala Harris says she's ready to face Donald Trump again. She's accepted CNN's invitation to a debate on October 23rd. As for Trump, he's made it clear he has no intention of participating in another debate, at least for now. Today, he was on the campaign trail in North Carolina, spewing his usual nonsense at a rally. But the true political moment of the week happened in Atlanta yesterday, where the vice president gave a passionate speech on reproductive rights after being moved by the deaths of two women. Had Amber Nicole Thurman and Candy Miller lived, we might never have known their names. But Georgia's 6-week abortion ban, enacted about a month after the Donald Trump-designed conservative supermajority overturned Roe v. Wade in 2022, changed that. And thanks to the excellent journalism of ProPublica, we have the horrifying details. Fear of the steep legal penalties that could befall doctors and hospitals if they run afoul of the Georgia ban's narrowly tailored exceptions for the life of the mother may have cost Amber Nicole Thurman, already the mother of a 6-year-old, her life. When the 6-week ban went into effect, her unexpected pregnancy with twins was further along, and it forced her to go to a clinic in North Carolina where she was given abortion pills. It was a 4-hour journey that was impossible for her to replicate when complications ensued back in Georgia 5 days later. Amber Nicole Thurman was rushed to a nearby hospital. She needed a procedure known as a D&C, but doctors there faced a risk of prison time if they provided care that authorities later questioned. She suffered for 20 hours before the procedure was performed. She died during surgery. ProPublica reports that the Georgia State Maternal Mortality Review Committee deemed Amber Nicole Thurman's death preventable and said the delay in performing the critical procedure had a large impact on her fatal outcome. The Georgia abortion ban also has patients attempting to self-manage their own abortions because the exceptions for the life of the mother do not extend to women who seek abortions because they have high-risk health conditions. And the law held out the possibility that mothers could be prosecuted for even seeking an abortion. Candy Miller, a mother of 3, was afraid to see a doctor. She had lupus, diabetes, and hypertension. ProPublica reports that because her 3rd pregnancy was difficult and she never fully recovered, she sought to terminate her 4th pregnancy through medication abortion without medical supervision. According to ProPublica, when the State Maternal Mortality Review Committee looked into Candy Miller's death, quote, they immediately decided it was preventable and blamed the state's abortion ban, according to members who spoke to ProPublica on the condition of anonymity. Vice President Kamala Harris went to Georgia yesterday to put the spotlight on reproductive freedom and the 2 women who are now the tragic faces of Georgia's horrible abortion law.
This is a health care crisis. This is a health care crisis, and Donald Trump is the architect of this crisis. He brags about overturning Roe v. Wade. In his own words, quote, I did it and I'm proud to have done it, he says. He is proud that women are dying, proud that doctors and nurses could be thrown in prison for administering care, proud that young women today have fewer rights than their mothers and grandmothers. How dare he?
Yes, how dare he? And don't think for 1 second that if given another term in the White House, Trump wouldn't implement a national abortion ban. If Congress were to send Trump a bill, he would sign it. If Trump's Justice Department were to start enforcing the Comstock Act, which prohibits the mailing and receiving of abortion-related materials and has been on the books since 1873, he wouldn't stop it. The tragic deaths of Amber Nicole Thurman and Candy Miller were preventable. But another Trump term with its attendant chaos and cruelty is also preventable. Preventable if you vote.